First of all, I want to thank the Yasmina British Academy for having me here today, and just to truly tell you how amazed I am to be surrounded by such powering youth who are not afraid to step out of their comfort zones and speak with you today about a subject that's so important for us. So my name is Reema Darras. I am an emotional intelligence coach or enthusiast, and I'm here to talk to you today about something that resonates very deeply with me and our part of the world, which is your self-identity and how you can uncover it one piece at a time. So growing up, I used to love play puzzles. You know, those 1,000-piece puzzles? I would sit on them for hours. But there was always those few pieces of puzzles that I knew deep down inside that didn't fit, and yet I forced myself for them to fit. Anyone else been there? Well, growing up, I realized I was doing the same thing with myself, metaphorically. I was taking on roles, responsibilities, ideas, beliefs that really didn't feel like they belonged, but rather inherited or bespoke on me from my parents, my family, my culture. But here's where the magic happens. When you start to remove the pieces that don't fit, you discover a lifelong journey of self-discovery, not one that comes from guilt, shame, or fear, but actually curiosity. You see, here's the myth about self-identity. It's not something you lost along the way and you have to find. It's always been there. You just need to uncover it, bit by bit, moment by moment, puzzle by puzzle. And when you do, you get this profound strength in character. So if you're going to ask me, Reema, today, show me a person who's fully self-aware of who they are in their identity, I'll tell you to look for the person with the greatest strength and character, and you'll find them. It's no coincidence. And so we live in a world that loves to label us. We got to click the box: ethnicity, race, gender, age, marital status. But these are just coordinates. They're not the full map of who you are. You can't take a box for your self-identity. It's more deeper than that. It's a feeling in your chest that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, even if nobody else gets it but you. So that feeling in your chest, I'll tell you one time that happened to me. Growing up, we'd order takeout food. And I remember every time my mom would take those cardboard boxes and put them in the bin, it bugged me. And I start to ask myself, so I grew up learning that paper came from trees, paper comes into cardboard boxes, we consume the food, we throw it into the bin. What happens next? Does that mean my next meal is going to come from a tree? And as I grew up, and of course Amazon became a big thing, and I'd order my big boxes, and every time I saw a wasted package, it didn't bug me anymore. It ached my heart. And I realized that ache in my heart was only happening to me. None of my family members felt it. None of my friends understood it. It was a signal. So I realized this random concern wasn't just that. It was part of who I am. Turns out I'm an environmentalist at heart. And not just that, I believe every small step I can take at home can still create a big impact. And so if you come visit my home today, you'll see not a piece of paper, glass, or cardboard box that hasn't been recycled or put in its proper place. And for me, that gives me pride, because I live my life in alignment with my beliefs. They say sometimes, you don't need to choose your self-identity. It chooses you. You just need to pick up the cues and be curious. So I worked for a multinational company for many years, and we were a global team. We were remote, and I was the only Arab and Muslim on the team. Every Ramadan, I had to send a reminder to everybody saying, hey everyone, by the way, it's Ramadan in my part of the world, which means I'm going to be fasting from sunrise to sunset, and I'll need to take a break to break my fast before I resume my calls. And every time I sent that reminder, I would get this gush of curiosity. Reema, yes, Ramadan, remind us. What is it again? Why is it that you do it? What is fasting? Is it food or water? Can you have water? No water. No water? What about coffee? No coffee either, sorry. But as I started to explain my religion or explain my practice, I realized it wasn't just about educating others. It was something that was already reaffirming what I believed in me. It was telling me, I honor this, I own this, even if nobody else in the room gets it. And so you see, explaining my religion told me that I'm not just a Muslim, I'm a practicing one, even in a world that doesn't really understand my religion. You see, fasting for them was such a foreign entity that they couldn't fathom that that happens in our part of the world. And so the lesson here is you need to sometimes remove yourself from familiar settings and surroundings and environments and surround yourself with people from diverse backgrounds, religions, because once they ask you, who are you, or why do you believe in this, or why do you practice in this, you are able to give an answer of that you truly alignment, that what's truly alignment in what you believe, and not just a practice you inherited from your parents or your family or your culture. You see, fasting is definitely something I inherited from my family, but it's one of the things that I felt deeply about, and I chose to keep it. So, emotions. I am an emotional intelligence enthusiast, and I can tell you, you can tell a lot from emotions, and those are big signal signs that you should not take lightly. They can be your best friends. So here are some few ways that you can find out a little bit about how you're feeling, because when I coach my clients, I tell them about how they're feeling, and we talk about why they're feeling, how to regulate some of that, and how to build better impact. One of the things we look at with self-identity is pressure or purpose. Are you acting out of pressure to do this? Or is there a long-term vision and self-motivation to get you there? Ask yourself those questions. One of my favorites is triggers. What gets you angry? What triggers you? And so if you actually look at anger, it could be your best friend because it's teaching you something. If you look up the definition of anger, it's telling you you have this belief system within you that you hold in such a high regard that has become under attack. So the next time you're angry, find out what value system or belief system that you have within you that you're trying to protect. And then you'll find more cues about what it is to be, what it is your self-identity is. What gives you energy? Sometimes you're doing something and you feel like you're on top of the moon, you get goosebumps, you tell yourself, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, I'm exactly supposed to be having these conversations or surrounded by these people, and you'll get a lot of that growing up. Pick up on those cues as well, because they are closer to your alignment of who you are. What brings you confidence? If I ask you now to stand up and tell me something about yourself or what you believe in, if you come to me as a subject matter expert, someone who understands the reasons why and where and how, talks to me eloquently with confidence, just know that you've uncovered something from your self-identity. Being confident is not coincidence. It truly aligns with who you are, and it gives you that strength and character. So is there such a thing as community identity? 100%. And I'd like to just stress on the fact about how privileged we are to be growing up in the UAE and in the Middle East as well. You see, when you're here, you pick up on value systems and belief systems that are actually very humane. Think about it. We're learning generosity. We're learning charity, the importance of family, of taking care of the elders, taking care of the needy and the sick. How great is that? We're halfway there. And if these are practices that we can inherit and work on, we've created a solid foundation for us to grow upon. So these are things I don't take lightly growing up in the Middle East, and ones that we should definitely be grateful for. The Emirati self-identity has a definition of its own. It's rooted in the way that they speak, their pride, their generosity, their rituals, the way they come together, or the smell of spices when you come home. You see, self-identity doesn't have to be a personal journey. It could be a communal one. And if you are an Emirati, you don't need to choose between holding on to your heritage and being your unique self, because you can do both. You can actually be the bridge that carries the wisdom from where you came into the boldness of where you're going. So if you were going to look at self-identity, here's a few things to reflect on. It is definitely not a destination. It's a dialogue between who they told you to be and who you truly are. It's not a one-time discovery, but a lifelong time unfolding. So instead of asking, who am I? Maybe we should be asking, who am I becoming? And what pieces of the puzzle can I finally set free? Thank you.